So this would be an half an hour to 45-minute session sponsored by AstraZeneca. So to begin with, so we very rarely we see a patient of lung cancer who's resectable, but nowadays because of the more patients are undergoing screening, because of now we have screening guidelines. So probably hopefully we'll detect more number of cases who are resectable at the time of diagnosis. So lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer death, accounting for more than 1.7 million deaths annually, as per the Globocan data of 2020 also. And non-small cell lung cancer represents majority of lung cancer, around 85%, and with an estimated 30% of patients presenting with resectable disease at diagnosis. So I think 30% is also is on higher side of estimation. So the resectable cancer can be divided into early stage, stage 1B, or regional, locally advanced stage 2 and stage 3A. So outcomes in early stage non-small cell lung cancer needs to be improved. Although it is a resectable disease, but still the 5-year survival is not very high. So it ranges from around 45 to 76% for resectable lung cancer. So surgery is the primary treatment modality, and on the basis of LACE meta-analysis, adjuvant cisplatin-based chemo is recommended for patients with resected stage 2 and stage 3 non-small cell cancer patients, and very few selected patients with stage 1B disease. So according to this LACE meta-analysis, it showed a 5-year overall survival benefit with adjuvant chemo in patients with early stage non-small cell lung cancer with a hazard ratio of 0.89, and DFS also favored adjuvant chemo. So based on this meta-analysis, the indication of adjuvant chemo are if the size of the tumor is more than 4 centimeter, or if it is node positive disease. The overall disease recurrence or death following surgery and adjuvant chemotherapy remains high across various disease stages. So based on a limited number of studies, so before coming to the ADAURA trial, we'll discuss the prevalence of EGFR mutation. So EGFR mutations is, we know that we have been doing routinely testing for unresectable cancer and stage 4 disease. So the prevalence is similar in earlier stage cancer also. In stage 1, the incidence is around 34 to 54 in Asian patients, and in the US patients, it's around 19 to 40. And similarly, in stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4, the incidence is around 30 to 45%. So stage does not change the prevalence of EGFR status. So if EGFR TKI were available in the resectable setting, a similar proportion of patients may be able to benefit compared to the advanced setting. So before discussing the ADAURA trial, there were many trials which evaluated the role of TKI in adjuvant setting. So most of these trials studied gefitinib and erlotinib. So we'll just briefly mention about these trials one by one. So the BR19 trial was a phase 3 study of stage 1B and stage 3A patient. In this, EGFR was unselected. That is, they did not did the EGFR testing, neither IHC or nor mutation. And gefitinib versus placebo was given after adjuvant chemo. So this trial was closed prematurely because of the poor accrual, and it did not show the neither DFS or OS benefit. The other trial was the RADIANT trial. RADIANT trial was adjuvant erlotinib versus placebo in patients with stage 1B, stage 3A EGFR expression present or amplified. And erlotinib versus placebo was given after adjuvant chemo. So in this, patients were tested for EGFR by IHC and also by mutation. So all these patients were included. And they found in the subgroup analysis that clinically meaningful DFS was present in EGFR mutation subgroups, 46.4 months versus 28.5 months. And then we had the SELECT trial. SELECT trial included patients with stage 1, stage 3 EGFR mutation positive, and erlotinib was given after adjuvant chemo. So it showed a 2-year DFS of 88% versus 76%. And then we had adjuvant trial. Adjuvant trial randomized patient to gefitinib versus adjuvant chemo. So it did not give chemo in the gefitinib arm. So it found a significant DFS improvement of 28.7 months versus 18 months, although this did not translate into overall survival. And the IVAN trial was a stage 3 patients were included with EGFR mutation positive, and they were randomized to erlotinib versus adjuvant chemo. It showed a significant DFS improvement of 42.4 months versus 21 months. So before the ADAURA trial, we had some evidence that adding TKI to in adjuvant setting in EGFR mutated patients, it might provide a DFS benefit. So all these trials, they were not properly designed. Some patients, some included all the patients, some included who had EGFR positive by IHC. In some trial subgroups did not receive chemo. So with this regard, ADAURA trial was a very well-designed trial. So now coming to the ADAURA trial. ADAURA trial is osimertinib as adjuvant therapy in patients with stage 1B, stage 2, stage 3A, EGFR mutation positive, non-small cell lung cancer after complete tumor resection. So in this, patients were, it was a phase 3 double-blind study and had an inclusion criteria of age more than 18 years, performance status of 0 to 1, EGFR exon 19 DEL and L858R, confirmed primary non-squamous non-small cell lung cancer, and brain imaging was done and complete resection was done. And the patients were randomized 10 weeks if they did not receive any adjuvant chemo after surgery, and were randomized 26 weeks after surgery if they had received adjuvant chemo. So there was stratification was done by age, by EGFR mutation exon 19 versus L858R, and versus race, Asian versus non-Asian. So they were randomized to osimertinib versus placebo in 1:1 ratio. Planned treatment duration was 3 years. Treatment continued till disease recurrence, treatment completion, and discontinuation criteria met. The primary endpoint was DFS by investigator assessment in stage 2, stage 3 patients, and secondary endpoint was DFS in overall population. So this is a repetition of the previous slide. So ADAURA trial was a well-designed trial. It included patients equally in both arms, and chemotherapy was also given as an option in both the historical control arm and the osimertinib arm. So coming to the baseline characteristics, so in the osimertinib and placebo arm, they were almost equally matched. The percentage of females were more in the around 68% and 70% in the osimertinib versus placebo arm, because we know that EGFR mutation is more common in females. And the median age was around 64. Both smokers and non-smokers were equally distributed between the two arms. Asian patients were more, 64% as compared to 36%. And brain imaging at randomization was done equally in both the arms. And stage 1B, stage 2, stage 3 were equally divided around 32, 34, and 35. And majority of the histology were adenocarcinoma, 96%. And exon 19 deletion were present in 55% of the patients, and L858R were present in 45%. In both the arms, around 60% of the patients received chemotherapy prior to receiving osimertinib or placebo. So you can see from this graph that how beautifully the survival curve separates. So on the left side of the slide is the primary population, which includes stage 2 and stage 3 patients only. So osimertinib improves the DFS versus placebo in EGFR mutation non-small cell lung cancer. So you can see that the graph starts separating from the very beginning. So with a hazard ratio of 0.17, so we hardly see such hazard ratio in clinical trials. And on the right side, all the patients were included, which includes patient of stage 1B also. So the graph still separates very well, although the difference is slightly less as compared to stage 2 and stage 3. Still the graph separates very well, and it almost separates from the very beginning. And the hazard ratio was 0.20. So that means that in the primary population of stage 2 and stage 3A, there was 83% reduction in the risk of disease recurrence or death with osimertinib. And in stage 1B, stage 2, stage 3, where all the patients were included, the reduction in the risk of disease recurrence or death with osimertinib was around 80%. Now coming to the stage-wise 2-year DFS, and that was consistent across all the osimertinib, all these stages. In stage 1B, although it was the difference was slightly less, it was 88% versus 73 with a hazard ratio of 0.39. But in stage 2 and stage 3A, so it was 91 as compared to 46 with a hazard ratio of 0.17, and the 2-year DFS in stage 3A was 88 versus 32 with a hazard ratio of 0.12. So you can see a drastic difference in stage 2 and stage 3A between the osimertinib and the placebo arm in the 2-year DFS. And when we see the forest graph in the subgroup analysis of disease recurrence or death according to the investigator assessment, we can see that in all the subgroups, it favored the osimertinib arm. Osimertinib was better as compared to placebo, irrespective of the EGFR mutation exon 19 versus L858R. Although it was better in the exon 19 deletion, it was better whether patient received adjuvant chemo or not, and it was better irrespective of the stage. You can see from this graph that it was much better in the stage 2 and stage 3A as compared to stage 1B. And it was better in Asian and non-Asian both, and it was better irrespective of the age and the smoking history. So this was an interim analysis, and just to give an early snapshot of the overall survival in patients with stage 2 and stage 3A, you can see from this graph that even at the end of 2 years, around 100% patients were surviving in the patients who received osimertinib as compared to 93%. So the problem with the surgically resected patient is that the presence of local and regional recurrence, presence of distant mets, and presence of CNS mets. So to overcome this problem, this trial was designed. So we know that the local regional recurrence is better as compared to distant mets, and it is associated with longer post-recurrence survival than distant recurrence. And the CNS is also a troublesome and bothersome site of distant mets in patients with EGFR mutation non-small cell lung cancer receiving EGFR TKI, that we know from various stage 4 studies and also in the adjuvant RADIANT study, which showed that 37% of recurrences in patients with EGFR mutation non-small cell lung cancer treated with erlotinib had CNS involvement. And we know from the FLORA study that osimertinib has been shown to achieve clinically significant exposure in the brain compared with other TKIs and has a better CNS penetration. And in the advanced non-small cell lung cancer, first-line osimertinib has demonstrated superior overall survival and a 52% reduction in risk of CNS progression compared with erlotinib and gefitinib. So that is why osimertinib is probably the better TKI out of all the available TKI in the adjuvant setting. So in the ADAURA trial, coming to the type of disease recurrence, in the osimertinib arm, 11% patients had DFS events, that is disease recurrence or death. Whereas in the placebo arm, 46% of the patient had DFS event. And in the osimertinib arm, the majority of patients with recurrence had local or regional recurrence only, with only 38% patients having a metastatic recurrence as compared to 61% in the placebo arm. So that means osimertinib decreased the rate of distant mets, and majority of the patients had a local recurrence in the osimertinib arm. And these patients were significantly less in the osimertinib arm as compared to the placebo arm. And coming to the sites of recurrence, local recurrence was more common, 46% in the placebo as compared to 11% in the incidence of disease recurrence was 46% in the placebo arm as compared to 11%. And the lung recurrence was 18% in the placebo as compared to 6% in the osimertinib arm. And you can see that the osimertinib arm patient did not have other unusual site of mets as compared to the placebo arm. Now coming to the CNS events, so 45 patients had CNS DFS events, and only 1% in the osimertinib arm had CNS events as compared to 10% in the placebo arm. So we can also see from this table that osimertinib significantly reduces CNS recurrence rates as compared to the placebo. So this graph is showing the same. You can see a flat line in the CNS DFS control rate. So with the osimertinib, and the graph separates in the placebo arm. Even at the end of 3 years, majority of the patients did not have any CNS events in the osimertinib arm, as compared to it only 82% patients remained CNS DFS event free in the placebo arm. So safety analysis, we now know that osimertinib is relatively a safe drug with not much of significant side effects. So any side effects were similar in both the arms, around 327 in the osimertinib versus 306 in the placebo arm, and the incidence of grade 3 adverse events were present in 20% in the osimertinib arm and 14% in the placebo arm. So adverse events leading to discontinuation and dose reduction were around 11% and 7% in the osimertinib arm. The median duration of exposure was 22.3 months in the osimertinib arm. That means average number of duration of osimertinib that the patients were able to receive was 22.3 months. The side effect profile had included diarrhea, nail changes, dry skin, pruritus, URTI. Majority of these side effects were manageable. And grade 1 to 2 ILD was reported in around 3% of patients in the osimertinib arm, and QTC prolongation was reported in 7% in the osimertinib arm. So you can see from this graph that grade 3, grade 4 adverse events were relatively less in the osimertinib arm, and that were mostly manageable. That included diarrhea, stomatitis. Now this was a paper published in 2021 only. So this analyzed the effect of osimertinib in patients who received chemotherapy and those who did not receive chemo. So this was a post-operative chemotherapy use and outcomes from ADAURA, osimertinib as adjuvant therapy for resected EGFR mutated non-small cell lung cancer. So overall 60% of the patients received adjuvant chemo. The median duration was 4 cycles. And the majority of patients received standard platinum-based chemo, and most of the patients were stage 2 and stage 3. That is around 76%. And around 26% of stage 1B patients received adjuvant chemo. Adjuvant chemotherapy use was more frequent in patients aged less than 70 years and in patients enrolled in Asia. And it was not influenced by PS. So now this slide is showing that the incidence of DFS in patients who received and those who did not receive adjuvant chemo in the overall population. On the left side of the slide is those patients who received adjuvant chemotherapy. And you can see that in those patients, the graph also separates from the very beginning with 2-year DFS favoring the patients receiving osimertinib, favoring 89% versus 49% in the placebo arm. And on the right side is the graph comparing osimertinib versus placebo in those patients who did not receive adjuvant chemo. So in this also the 2-year DFS was 89% as compared to 58% in placebo arm. So the hazard ratio was very good in both the those who received adjuvant chemo and those who did not. That was around 0.16 in those who were given chemo, and it was around 0.23 in those who did not receive adjuvant chemo. So a forest plot showing the DFS in patients with and without adjuvant chemotherapy by stage. So in all the stages, stage 2, stage 3A, stage 1B, stage 2, stage 3A, it favored patients irrespective whether they were given adjuvant chemo or whether they did not receive adjuvant chemo. In both these settings, the hazard ratio for DFS favored the osimertinib arm as compared to placebo. So you can see that the hazard ratio is really beautiful to see. It's ranging from 0.2 to 0.1. So that favored osimertinib arm as compared to the placebo. Meaningful DFS benefit with osimertinib was observed in patients with or without adjuvant chemo, regardless of the disease status. So in coming to the stage-wise DFS in patients with who received or those who did not receive chemo, in patients of stage 1B who received adjuvant chemo, the DFS still favored the osimertinib as compared to placebo, and those who did not receive adjuvant chemo, The graph is almost similar. It's not as beautiful as in stage 2 and stage 3, but it still also favored the osimertinib arm, even in stage 1B. So in stage 2 and stage 3, there is no doubt that that osimertinib arm resulted in better outcome. You can see in both the arms with and without adjuvant chemo. The graph separates from the very beginning and it favors the osimertinib arm as compared to the placebo arm, and the hazard ratio is 0.15 with adjuvant chemo and it's 0.2 with without adjuvant chemo. Coming to the stage 3, the graph separation has increased in stage 3A. So in adjuvant and both in adjuvant and without adjuvant chemo, the hazard ratio was 0.13 and 0.10, favoring the osimertinib arm with a median DFS of 38.8 months in those who received adjuvant chemo and 12.9 in those who received adjuvant osimertinib arm. And in without adjuvant chemotherapy, it favored the osimertinib arm. Median DFS was 38.6 months versus 11.2 months. So we can see that it's almost triple favoring the osimertinib arm. So it's more than 3 years of median DFS. So now coming to the quality, the health-related quality outcomes. So the patient-reported outcomes from ADAURA trial, osimertinib as adjuvant therapy in patients with resected EGFR mutant non-small cell lung cancer. So this study analyzed the quality of life and health-related quality of life indices in the osimertinib versus the placebo arm. It used the HR Quality of Life Health Survey SF36, which included physical component summary and mental component summary. Physical component summary included physical functioning, role functioning, bodily pain, general health. And mental component summary included vitality, social functioning, role, emotional, mental health. And the data collection period was from the beginning, surgery plus minus chemo, and then randomization was done week 12, week 24, and then every 24 weeks. It was done until disease recurrence, treatment completion, or treatment discontinuation. So you can see from this graph that the quality of life was similar in both the osimertinib and placebo arm. So the compliance rates with the SF36 health survey were high, greater than 85% in both the osimertinib and the placebo arm. The median duration of total exposure was 22.5 months with osimertinib at cutoff and 18.7 months with placebo at cutoff. So time to deterioration of physical, that is TTD, of physical and mental component summary. It was also similar between the two arms. There was no difference in TTD of PCS or MCS, that is physical and mental component summary in both the arms. So that means that osimertinib did not resulted in decrease in the quality of life of the patients. So to summarize, before this trial, we had some evidence that adding TKI to EGFR positive patients after surgery or after completing adjuvant chemo resulted in improved DFS. But choosing osimertinib as the drug for adjuvant chemotherapy was the first time that this trial was a trial has included. So it resulted in a statistically significant and clinically meaningful improvement in DFS in patients with stage 1B, stage 2, and stage 3 EGFR mutant non-small cell lung cancer. Overall, there was 80% reduction in the risk of disease recurrence or death with osimertinib. And osimertinib was placebo. DFS rates at 2 years were 89% versus placebo. And with respect to the CNS DFS, osimertinib demonstrated a clinically meaningful improvement in CNS DFS compared with placebo. And the safety profile of osimertinib was consistent with the established side effect profile with mild EGFR TKI class effects. The median duration was 22.2 months. A clinically meaningful DFS benefit with osimertinib was observed in patients with or without adjuvant chemo, regardless of the disease status. And higher disease recurrence rates were observed among patients in the placebo arm who received adjuvant chemo compared to those who didn't, were likely driven by the large population of patients. And the overall health-related quality of life was also maintained. So adjuvant osimertinib will be a highly effective and practice-changing treatment for stage 1B, stage 2, and stage 3A EGFR mutation non-small cell lung cancer after complete tumor resection. So my take of this presentation is that osimertinib is an excellent option in those patients who have EGFR positive mutation, who underwent surgery, but there are still some confusion which needs to be answered in near future regarding the duration of adjuvant TKI, whether it should be 2 years or whether it should be 3 years. And suppose if the patient is not able to afford osimertinib, then based on the previous trial, gefitinib has also proven to have shown a improvement in DFS. And the second question that needs to be answered, whether actually EGFR positive patient needs chemotherapy or not, whether we can omit chemo or not, because we saw that the benefit was seen irrespective whether a patient received adjuvant chemo or the patient did not receive adjuvant chemo. And in patients with stage 1B, the difference is not that much favoring the osimertinib, although it still favored osimertinib, but in stage 2 and stage 3, the graph separated beautifully. So I have no doubt in stage 2 and stage 3, there is definitely a role of adjuvant osimertinib in EGFR mutant lung cancer. But my query remains regarding the duration and whether in stage 1B and whether actually chemotherapy is required in patients who are EGFR positive. So hopefully with the future trials and the future results, we'll be able to understand more and will be able to provide a better and a safer treatment to our patients. So with this, I would like to conclude my presentation, and I would like to ask the participants if they have any question or experiences that they can share.